to the June 2nd, 2025 Fairfield Planning Board meeting. Easy agenda tonight. The first item is minutes of the May 5th, 2025 meeting. Everybody had a chance to look at those. Any comments or suggestions?
Good.
Hearing none, I'd take a motion.
Motion to accept?
I have a
Second.
motion second. All those in favor? Thank you. Public hearings, conditional use permit application for Pine Tree Waste, Inc., Fairfield Hauling Division for a maintenance garage 150 feet by 70 feet located at 6 Gerald Terrace on Assessors Map 18, Lot 163C in the Main Street Land Use District. I'd like to open the public hearing tonight to the public. Anybody have any comments, or do you want to speak to that project first?
Yes, so we do have a little presentation prepared for the plan proposal at the Fairfield Hauling Division. So as you had mentioned, we're looking to add a new maintenance garage that will help expand Pine Tree Waste hauling area.
You have her step up and go in.
Get up to the microphone if you would. Yep. Okay, go ahead, outline just a little bit. The building, any major other site issues?
The main thing that's a little bit different about this project is that Pine Tree Waste has purchased several lots surrounding the one they already owned. So they're also looking to combine the deeds into one lot. And then that new building is going to be kind of right in the center of the new parcel.
Okay. Any questions or comments? We are in public hearing from the public. Any questions or comments about this project?
I don't know if there's anyone on the Zoom meeting.
Anybody zooming in for public comment?
No one is in.
We'll give it a couple minutes just to make sure that someone doesn't cruise in late and have issues about the project. The abutters were notified, resident letters. I got one for the history house up behind it, so I know they went out. And usually those draw attention, or they don't draw any opposition, you know, or comments or suggestions. But we'll give it just a minute.
Yep.
And we also notified the public in the newspaper. That was published.
Okay. What's that, the Bangor Daily or the Portland
No,
Press?
We use the Morning Sentinel for this area.
Morning Sentinel out of what, Portland or Augusta?
It's out of the Waterville. It's the Central Maine Morning Sentinel.
Okay.
Chad, do you want to show the site plan on the screen?
Yep, give me a second.
Thank you.
Hearing no public comment, I'd like to close the public hearing at this time. Move on to the agenda. Item 4, unfinished business. We have none. Item 5, new business, conditional use permit application for Pine Tree Waste, Inc., Fairfield Hauling Division, a maintenance garage 150 by 70, located at 6 Gerald Terrace on Assessors Map 18, Lot 163C, in the Main Street Land Use District. Discussion and decision. Okay. Board members, questions or comments about this project?
Do you want to do the presentation first? Or
Yeah, so we'll get started. So we said this project is for Pine Tree Waste, Inc., located at 6 Gerald Terrace here in Fairfield. And you go to the next slide. So my name is Thalia Harrington. I'm a professional engineer and project manager for this project. I work for St. Germain. We're an environmental consulting and engineering firm based out of Westbrook. And this is Jeffrey Pelletier.
Good evening, Planning Board members. My name's Jeff Pelletier. As Thalia mentioned, I've met at least one of you before, and I'll be helping represent the owner in this in tonight's review. I'm currently working as an environmental manager and engineer for Casella in Maine. I want to take time. I want to thank you all for your time and the opportunity to present this proposed project. As many of you know, Pine Tree Waste, a subsidiary of Casella Waste Systems, was purchased by Central Maine Disposal in 2019. Since then, operations have been led by both Mickey Wing and recently Patrick Neal from Pine Tree Waste. Recently, Patrick Neal has accepted a job in our Mid-Atlantic region of the company and could not be here tonight. So instead, in his place, we've got Brian Groshon, who's right here. He's our Regional Vice President of Operations, and I've also got Nick Carter here, who's our construction foreman as part of our construction branch of the facility. So we're all happy to answer any questions you all may have on this project. Also, currently, Pine Tree Waste Fairfield operation employs about 60 people and offers many different services for both people and businesses in the Fairfield area. As the operation has grown, our current maintenance garage is not. So that being said, it's an older building. It's no longer adequate to service our current fleet. And so this is the main reason that we're all getting together today. The other thing that Thalia mentioned briefly was that, you know, we bought several lots that we'd like to kind of combine into one to make the property, basically just one lot. So now I'll give back the floor to Thalia, and like I said, we'd be happy to answer any other questions you all may have.
Good, thank you.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Next slide. So we'll do kind of a brief overview of where this project is located. So it's on Gerald Terrace, which is right off Main Street, actually not too far from here. And next slide. And then here's an aerial of the site with all the new properties shown outlined there in orange. As you can see kind of in the back, there's the existing office building and maintenance garages. And then it's also right behind that castle or former funeral home right off of Main Street. And next slide. So here's just a snippet of the site plan for the proposed development. So we're looking to construct that new maintenance garage building, which is 150 feet by 70 feet. This also includes some asphalt pavement for parking, so 58 passenger vehicles. That's on that parking lot over there to the left on the site plan, as well as 54 spaces for commercial trucks and equipment. That'll be on gravel, kind of mostly down on the front corner of the site, but also a few areas surrounding. And as we'd mentioned before, looking to combine the sites, all the parcels into one lot. And next slide. So this project also has some upgrades to grading and utilities. So we're proposing a new water service for both domestic and fire, new sanitary sewer line connections, and a new utility pole with underground electric service, which can be shown here. And next slide. And then here are some images of what the proposed building is going to look like. So it's a 6-bay garage. One of those bays is going to be a wash bay for washing the vehicles. There'll also be some spaces for office and some light maintenance in the back there, and a washroom for employees. And next slide. And then here you can see the layout of the buildings. This is the first floor. You can see all 6 wash bays, or all 6 maintenance bays with the wash bay there on the left. These bays do have trench drains that'll help collect any water from operations inside, and that'll be connected to an oil water separator, then into the sanitary sewer system. And then you can see there's some offices and bathrooms there on the right. And next slide. So some additional details that will go along with this project As far as vehicles go, it'll be a pretty similar number and frequency of vehicles using the site, coming and going at around the same time as they are now. Some on-site improvements when it comes to vehicle turning has been looked into, so that's why some of the parking spots are kind of at a 60-degree angle or so. That'll help improve turning radius and is able, give the ability to park a few more vehicles. For the new pavement, we'll have striping on there, so that'll be there for safety and help with circulation. And there also will be a pedestrian crosswalk across Gerald Terrace for employees to get from the parking lot to the building. For fire, we're proposing a sprinkler system inside the new building, along with a dedicated 6-inch water line for the fire service. We also looked at improving site circulation so that emergency vehicles can access the site. We've looked at landscaping as well. There'll be an improved facility sign with some landscaping features right near the entrance of the facility. We're also proposing to revegetate some areas along Main Street as well with new grass. And then we also have plans for lighting in the exterior to help really aid with safety. And we also just provided that photometric plan to Nicole this morning. And next steps would be first to finalize the new property boundary and deed. And then, of course, following planning board approval, we'd be looking to start construction immediately, right into 2025, and then probably finishing up the interior of the building in early 2026. And next slide. So that's what we have for our presentation today. And again, I really wanted to thank the Fairfield Planning Board for taking the time to listen to us today and to review our application.
Thank you. Questions or comments from our board at this point? You've all seen the plans and had a chance to look at it? Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I'll start off by saying, just for the record, I am employed by Kennebec Water District, which has reviewed this project and provided comments, but I have no financial stake from that capacity, and I'm representing myself tonight as a citizen of Fairfield. First question that I have for you guys is, it doesn't sound like the parcels are combined at this point. What is the time frame for doing that?
Yeah.
So if you looked in the package that was part of the application, the deed basically is already, all the legwork's been done as far as getting it drafted. So as soon as, approval was granted, we'd work on getting that done right away. So
Okay.
We've already engaged with, an attorney that's kind of helped draft some documents. So she's just basically waiting on our go-ahead, so.
Because this proposed building will not meet setback requirements of the existing parcels, are you okay with a condition of approval that the lots must be combined prior to issuance of a building permit?
I think that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I believe that'd be fine.
Okay. With the letters from the town, I noticed that the Public Works Department did not mention stormwater at all. Nicole, did you have a chance to connect with the Public Works Director regarding stormwater addition on Gerald Terrace as well as Main Street?
Yes, he said it's fine. The current stormwater is fine, and he wanted to have more details on the oil-water separator when they select one. He's fine with the way they drew it and connect into Gerald Terrace to the existing stormwater.
Because he didn't mention stormwater at all in the letter, he just mentioned sewer. So I would just think it's on the town's best interest to make sure that the Public Works Director puts in writing that the stormwater addition on Gerald Terrace and Main Street as proposed, because it is a substantial addition on Gerald Terrace, specifically with the
Right.
foundation drain, roof drain, and then an additional impervious area.
Okay.
So I think getting that in writing would be important. So I'd also suggest that's a condition of approval tonight,
Okay.
if the applicant's accepting of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So instead of a verbal, I'll get that in writing for their application.
Yep. The Kennebec Water District has proposed 3 conditions of approval that I'll read. I suspect the applicant's okay with them as well. Condition number 1 would be that because several buildings on the single parcel as planned will be master metered, the parcel shall not be divided without approval of Kennebec Water District. All water service, that's number 1. Number 2, all water services supplied to the existing Gerald Terrace water main shall be discontinued prior to providing a certificate of occupancy for the proposed garage facility. And number 3, Kennebec Water District approval is required prior to construction of any additional structures on the property that require water service, either fire or domestic.
I have a question. Does that main run right down Gerald Terrace, the water main?
It does.
Okay. Size of that?
1 inch.
1 inch. And they're proposing 4-inch service to the building.
The site plan calls for a 2-inch domestic service and a 8-inch fire.
6-inch.
6-inch fire
fire.
service, which
Okay.
will come from Main Street, not Gerald Terrace.
Okay. So the question is, are they removing the existing 2-inch main that's in the street? Do you know?
The plan that I believe the Kennebec Water District and the applicant have settled on is that the existing water main in Gerald Terrace would be abandoned.
Okay. So all of those existing services off that are going to be obsolete and discontinued as well?
From the site plan, it shows that it's all Casella-owned properties that have service off of Gerald Terrace.
Go ahead.
Yep.
That's fine.
With the fire chief's letter, it noted that a knock box would be recommended. Is that something that the developer is okay with a conditional approval that that's provided prior to certificate of occupancy?
Yep.
And then also in the fire chief's letter, it noted that there needs to be space around all 4 sides of the proposed building for fighting the fire. It looks like on the, I guess, eastern side of the building, there's going to be a 21-foot wide paved area, which is certainly plenty of space. But on the western side, I don't see a dimension for that paved area. Is
Okay.
that, what sort of dimension is that expected to be?
Let me see.
Because it does show that there's a paved area there.
Yeah.
And I just would want to make sure that it's at least enough space for like a fire truck to get through there.
Yeah. Yeah, I know everything was sized so that commercial trucks could get around, which should be fairly similar in size to the fire truck, but let me just take a quick look.
To me, it looks like around 10 feet.
Yeah, I would have to double check our models, but yeah, I'd say probably about 10 feet or so.
Okay. And the plan is for that distance between the proposed cast-in-place retaining wall and the building for commercial trucks to get through there? Or is the traffic flow going to be
Around the other.
around the other side of like the existing garage?
So traffic flow will go more around where those, up and over, where those few spots are kind of just to the north of the building. But in emergencies, they should be able to fit in between there if needed.
And the fire suppression system will be helpful in that situation, I'm sure.
Certainly. Okay. I would just want to make sure that it is big enough for the event of an emergency that an ambulance, fire truck can get around that side of the building.
Yep.
You want that a condition as well? Access?
I guess since we are going back to the Public Works Director, we could go back to the fire chief once you have that dimension and just make sure that the fire chief is approving of that dimension for access around.
Yep.
That would be good.
Okay.
Especially with all those buildings remaining.
What else did I have? I think the elephant in the room around town with this property is, well, at least from what I've heard from several people, is the large blue fence along Main Street. And in the application, it does say that you are planning to revegetate along, in between the fence and the sidewalk along Main Street. What is the plan for revegetate there?
Yeah, so we'll put down some fresh grass seed to really make sure there's a good grass growth. I think there's a catch basin right there in the corner, so making sure there's, some coverage around there as well. So
Okay.
really just getting a nice green cover for along Main Street there.
Has there been any consideration, or I guess, would the applicant be open to more of a shrubbery plantings along the front of that fence line, just to kind of break up the big blue area, make it a little bit more visually appealing, since this is a substantial stretch of Main Street that's taken up by this project?
Yeah. Yeah, yes.
The comments that I've gotten similar is the big blue see-through fence should have like the silhouette of killer whales on the backside, maybe, to have a water theme of some sort. But in lieu of that, that is quite an investment you're doing in Fairfield, and the building is quite an addition to Fairfield. If you could consider a white colonial-looking, more decorative fence that is less see-through, because you can see the trucks, the vehicles, the dump trucks, the pump trucks. You can see them coming out of Skowhegan Savings or anything on Main Street. And that front facade, in lieu of plantings, which would be a lot of plantings along that edge to create, a decent buffer. If that fence, that blue fence was changed out, at least what is shown on Main Street in the return, would be a huge reflection on, again, the investment that you're putting in Fairfield in these buildings. You can see through it, so it's really not a buffer. It's bright blue, it doesn't really do anything, so for your consideration, that's Main Street, there's a gorgeous building across the street, and as we see development on Main Street, we would like to see these type improvements along Main Street as well. On Main Street corridor, the town has spent a lot of time and effort, old buildings down and taking properties and vegetating and turning our waterfront into something that's more valuable, and they spent a lot of time and effort, but that would be, again, a huge play towards the presentation from Main Street of this investment that you're doing here now. So,
Okay.
again, for your consideration, either planted buffers or a combination, or a change-up of that, at least that front and that right return fence that, on the backside and the unseen sides, it's security for you guys, I get it. Keeping your vehicles protected, I understand that. But again, for your consideration.
Yeah, we can definitely look into that, so.
Again, it's a substantial investment. It would enhance what you're doing with, again, vinyl, no see-through, colonial-looking, scallop top, something a little fancy right along that Main Street corridor would be really cool. Appreciate that.
To add to what he's saying, something that matches the old funeral home building better, because that is a landmark to a lot of people. It is the castle, and we need to see something that goes with the castle that, I agree, blocks the trucks. Also helps block the noise a little bit, people are walking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'd like to see something a little bit nicer. But I'd like the combination of shrubbery and the new fencing. Nice idea.
And again, appreciate the fact that you did retain that building. Structurally, it's not, Nicole's been through it. Those upper decks are not great. It was built a long time ago. But historically, that's been in town for a long time, and it is quite a centerpiece for town. I appreciate you leaving what you could of that structure. Getting the old garages off was a plus, so that we do appreciate as well.
Good.
How does the planning board want to memorialize that we see something like that? A conditional approval doesn't really seem...
Just, comment from Jeff or someone that, they would consider that, again, would be huge. It's not something that we could hold up tonight's approval for your building and your revised site plan. But again, it's that whole package. There's a lot of changes there. There's houses coming down, and housing to us is a real big issue. The legislature voted the housing things they've done to encourage us to develop more housing for elder and retiring people, that LD 1994 or 2004. And again, we've lost some houses, so that's a bit of an issue. You're cleaning up the mechanical sides of those things with the water lines and the sewer lines going away, which is good. Looking at the whole package, again, retaining that old building's great, and if that front could be dealt with, or at least a comment from you that you would look into that, you're doing a huge investment. That little piece would add a lot for the townspeople of Fairfield to see this decorative thing. And how this property, and you took down a great old house that was really tough shape. We knew that. And, the older houses, I'm the president of the Fairfield Historical Society, so we have an 1898 house that we all can go visit on High Street, right behind you, by the way. So to see the old houses go because they're in tough shape, we get that. We have the Fairfield History House, which abuts this. And again, it'd be kind of cool to see that that feeling coming through town of seeing decorative fences and a little bit of landscaping there that really, complements the project.
Understood.
Sounds good. Did you need written comment from me on that, or we're just tonight saying that we're going to we'll look into it for you all, and is that what you need?
What I would propose is that we put a condition of approval that the developer shall provide a landscaping plan for the Main Street frontage to the planning board for consideration and approval at an upcoming meeting. So we don't necessarily hold up the approval of the overall project tonight, but we do want to see something come back to us. So, saying it sounds great is good, but we'd like to see something presented to us.
Sounds
in
good.
addition
Well, we'll
to the
come up
draft
with
plan that was currently.
some options, something that makes sense, I think, for the property and for the town.
Absolutely. It's a great corridor, and just communicating that to Nicole through the permit process. She feeds us information, on emails all the time.
That's good. And you have,
And I'll send it to
and
him.
you also, you hold meetings every month, once a month, is it?
Monthly.
Okay, sounds good.
We would not hold you up from your process, your schedule of deeding over, of securing a permit, but in communication through Nicole, through the permit process, if you could comment on that, and it can be mentioned as a approval situation for this landscaping and this fencing, maybe, to be a part of this thing. It really complements the whole project you're doing with that front impression, what that looks like.
Yeah, we agree. I mean,
I would propose it that we do just that we'd like to see a landscaping plan in front of the planning board for consideration and approval prior to a certificate of occupancy. So it doesn't hold up construction of the project.
Yeah,
but-
that makes sense. That way it gives us some time to think about it and
Yep.
develop something that we think is going to work, so.
Because we want it to be manageable for you guys as well. We don't want you
Yeah.
to plant 50 arborvitaes and then they die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which happens all the time,
Yeah.
Yes, it happens a
Right
lot.
near where the salt spreader.
because that they will.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, with
plow
the
that side.
sidewalks, that's the thing, that's the biggest thing we're going to have to take in consideration is with the sidewalk being right there, and depending on it's going to have to be something pretty hardy, because if not, it's not going to last the salt.
That's
probably.
And that corridor coming out of our housing in downtown, going to the grocery store, that corridor gets a fair amount of foot traffic.
Yeah.
And we respect that.
Yeah, okay. Well, sounds good.
Great.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
It did look like we had an audience member who would be interested in commenting.
I live on the corner, and anything but that blue fence would be better. Anything. Every window I look out of, I see that blue fence. So anything would be better.
Very good. Well, thank you for coming tonight and commenting, because you live right there, you see it every day. We're in town, we see it every day. And again, that'd be cool to see a whole package there, that this entire site, which gobbled up some housing, has that look from the Main Street side. That'd be great. Thank you for your comments.
And then just one additional thing that I think is just a point of clarification. Carol Ann kind of alluded to it, but the existing castle is not coming down. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. That's all I had for comments.
That'll make people happy.
Anything else from the board? Questions or comments at this time?
Sorry, actually, I did have one more to discuss. I don't know if we can legally do this or if we want to do this.
We break the law. Go
Right now, looking at the plan, Gerald Terrace does not have a turnaround at the end of it. Public access turnaround, fire trucks,
But there's a huge paved area.
agreed, but the developer could put up a fence and say, we don't want Fairfield fire trucks on the paved area. I don't know if,
Well,
and not that I think the developer would. I'm sure they're very accommodating to Fairfield and vehicles, and our large vehicles that may go down there and need to turn around through the parking lots. There's just something that I wanted to bring up, that right now we have no turnaround. We require a turnaround on every other dead-end road.
okay,
We should require a turnaround on
very
every
good, thank you. That's much better.
dead-end road.
But as I'm looking at Gerald Terrace, there's two entrances into the large parking lot across from the new building. I mean, that entrance and turnaround, in emergency, there's a huge parking lot there.
I don't disagree.
Okay?
Yeah.
So to designate an area that can't be used for parking because of a turnaround, if it's all paved in there, I don't know.
Well, I was thinking more of an easement into the parking lot area that would allow a fire truck to go up Gerald Terrace, back into the parking lot, and then back out, and then drive out.
How would that be configured? The map I'm looking at, the end of Gerald Terrace ends about the middle of your last bay, according to the property lines that we see there. I don't think that you could block the end of the road that goes into your private parking paved area. You can't block that. Your trucks come and go. So if there was a note on the plan, potential turnaround area, dotted lines, doesn't need to be painted, doesn't need to be surveyed, but a designated area at the end of the road, which I think there already is, that could say potential emergency vehicle turnaround. It's ambulances going to the staff in the building, it's slip and falls, so something that says you won't block the end of the road, turnaround easement area, just a note on a plan.
So in front of the wash bay, you're saying?
Either that or into the parking
Go
lot
straight
area
ahead.
Or into
across the
parking.
street. I mean,
Oh,
What we've
right.
always worked with the town as far as plowing and sanding is coming off the end of Gerald Terrace. And we've kind of had like a verbal kind of agreement with Bruce over the years of them coming up and turning around there as far as salting and sanding. So I figured probably kind of similar to that.
I just get nervous about verbal agreements, because I know Bruce is great to work with,
Yeah.
but Bruce's successor you guys may not get along.
Yeah.
And
But that is straight ahead from Gerald where he turns around and comes out.
Yep.
Very
Yeah,
good.
we've always kept space
Very
behind
good.
our signs so that we can.
Very good.
They come in and out.
Swing out.
Like that, so.
I mean,
And
this
then
is-
the
we,
company doesn't pay for it. The town pays for that plowing and salting.
all right.
Yeah, so they plow right up the road, and as soon as they get to the end, they lift their plow, they loop around, and then they come back. So
Gotcha.
We take care of keeping that area clean, because it's the main entrance to our office now.
It could be a note on a plan. Would it want to be an easement
I
of the
would-
deeds?
Personally, I would like to see a recorded easement with a turnaround on the parking lot side of the project.
Left
I
side?
think that, in the past, there was a lot of other adjacent properties there, but we're the only ones really using Gerald Terrace at this point.
Right.
So it's, to make an easement for something that, I mean, I'd prefer a note, but if that's possible. I know it's worked in the past, so, I mean, I don't foresee us having a bad relationship with the town of Fairfield. I mean, we'll always let emergency vehicles or somebody turn around if need be. I mean, there would be no reason for us not to, so.
Could we see something on the plan with a designate, like an outlined area of a designated turnaround area for emergency vehicles?
Yeah,
Noted?
I think so. Yeah, I think we can put something on there that, yeah.
Okay.
And that would just be shown right where you're doing it now, the end of Gerald Terrace, potential turnaround area for emergency and service vehicles. Just a note on a plan.
Yeah, I like
To-
that, emergency
to put a
and service vehicle.
To survey and write an easement, and who do you deliver the easement to? It's on your land.
Well, there'll be
So-
an easement to the town of
The
Fairfield.
town of Fairfield on private property, but keep in mind, we've got a bit of a problem in town where the town has chopped off a few roads for the railroad, and we don't have proper turnarounds, and we have trailer trucks backing down roads into 201, so that's a problem that exists elsewhere, and that's why it's just a bit of a sore spot.
And I understand that, but this is the application in front of us right now, and this is our opportunity to put in place those improvements for the town to manage the interests of the town when this development will potentially increase the amount of emergency vehicles that have to go up this road. So I'm okay with a dashed area showing
Yeah,
a
we'll work
turnaround
we'll put that
location
in
on
the
the plan
plan.
that's designated turnaround space for emergency and service vehicles.
Okay, that's good. We'll put something in the plan for that, so.
And just at the end of the road. But keep in mind, if there's an emergency, they'll pull in the parking lot to the left, they'll pull
Oh,
in
yeah.
front of the garage to
Yeah.
the right, they'll go straight ahead and drive around the building.
They're
They'll
not-
go where they want to go.
Yeah, they're not
In an
gonna look at the plan.
That's correct. Wait a minute, where's our turnaround? No, that's fine. A note
I
on the
just like to
plan.
think generations into the future,
Good.
so.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you for your comments on that. Okay, be ready for a motion.
Okay, I'll make it.
Are you moving to your findings?
Yep. Conditional use findings of fact, file number COND 2502, date filed 5/22/25, Pine Tree Waste Inc., Haulers Division, Casella. Gerald Terrace Construction, new structure, 150 feet by 70 feet, maintenance garage behind the former funeral home. The building will contain 6 bays and office space. 1 bay is a wash bay. The driveway will have pavement for employee parking and vehicle circulation with a gravel parking area for trucks and equipment. A site plan to scale showing at a minimum the location of existing and proposed structures and the distance from lot lines, water bodies, water supply, and sewage disposal facilities submitted to the planning board with application site plan sheet C-101 dated May 21st, 2025. If the market value of the project exceeds $80,000, a copy of the plans and specifications for the construction shall be required. Building preliminary plan, 10,500 square feet by A.E. Hodgson submitted with the application. Existing topographical contours are shown on the survey plan by William Shippen, land surveyor, Inc., dated March 2025. A proposed grading and contour intervals of not more than 5 feet as shown on the survey plan. Site improvements as shown on the plan, employee paved parking, new 10,500 square foot building, and new paved driveway area. Pedestrian and vehicle travelways and parking areas. Travelways are shown on the site plan. Landscaping and buffer areas as shown on the site plan. A fence along Main Street with blue screening approximately 6 feet high, subject to revision. There is no segment of fence or buffering shown behind 119 Main Street, a residential three-unit property. Stormwater and erosion control structures as shown on C-103, erosion control plan, grading, drainage, and utilities. Kennebec Water District, public water and public sewer connections and power lines, and outside installations of any machinery or equipment. As shown on C-103, the existing water lines will be abandoned with a new 6-inch fire service and 2-inch domestic water service line will be installed. The public sewer runs along Gerald Terrace, and connections were made on site. The electrical service will come from a new utility pole near the corner of the funeral home, underground and new building lighting as shown on the plan. An estimate of vehicle trips today be generated by the development and any modifications to the public roads which may be necessary to absorb the traffic. The existing business proposes 50 vehicle trips per departure and return expected each day between peak hours of 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. A list of names and addresses of all landowners within 200 feet of the property boundaries was submitted with the application in Section 5.1. Letters to abutters were mailed May 23, 2025, notifying of tonight's public hearing on this application via Zoom meeting or in person at 61 Water Street. A legal notice was placed in the Morning Sentinel on Sunday, May 25, 2025. A statement from Public Works Director that any proposed improvements to the public roads are adequate and acceptable. See a letter from Bruce Williams on the road opening permit and sewer adequacy statement. Analysis of potential environmental impacts, including effects on surface and groundwater bodies, air quality, wildlife resources. If any potential negative impacts are identified, a management strategy consistent with the performance standards of the ordinance and the state federal regulations must be prepared by a qualified professional. As shown on the site plan sheet C101 and the grading and drainage plan C103 and explained in section 7 of the application. If the development utilizes public water or sewer services, an estimate and demand on the respective systems, together with statements from the general manager of Kennebec Water District and superintendent of Kennebec Sanitary Treatment District concerning the ability of the respective systems to accommodate the development. In Section 9 of the application, see the email from Kennebec Water District explaining adequate capacity to serve the proposed garage facility, and from the Public Works on statement of adequate sewer capacity. An erosion control plan prepared by a registered professional engineer as designed by St. Germain engineer Thalia Harrington on sheet C103. A main construction and general permit application will be prepared and submitted to DEP as required, since the new construction will disturb more than 1 acre. A stormwater management plan prepared by a registered professional engineer as designed by St. Germain engineer Thalia Harrington. The plan sheet C103 and explained in section 7 of the application. A statement regarding the use, storage, and disposal of dangerous, toxic, special, or hazardous waste, whether solid, liquid, or gaseous, and special measures available to deal with them in the appropriate fashion. As stated in Section 1, page 2 of the application, no off-site waste will be accepted at the site. No dangerous, toxic, or special or hazardous waste will be generated or stored at the site. No off-site waste or recyclable handling, storage will take place at the site. Waste trucks and containers will be empty when parked and staged on site. Finding: the development will not create unsafe, unhealthy conditions within the neighborhood in which it is located and shall not create or exacerbate effects upon the neighboring properties. This proposed maintenance garage in the Main Street Land Use District has been designed to follow the requirements of the district. The structure is set back from the roadway and allows emergency vehicles access around it. The property has fencing to prevent public from entering the property from Main Street. The development will not create, add to traffic congestion at or below level D of service as defined, and will not create unsafe traffic movement on public roads. All vehicles will utilize Gerald Terrace to enter and leave the property. The traffic count at peak times will be not more than 50 and will not create unsafe traffic movements. The development will not result in undue reduction of air, water quality, or wildlife habitat, and will not cause undue flooding or soil erosion. The proposed project will not result in undue reduction of air, water quality, or wildlife habitat, and will not cause undue flooding, soil erosion. See the stormwater Site Plan C-103 for the project design, erosion control, and measures to be used. The development will to the greatest extent feasible, preserve historic, prehistoric, or archaeological resources. There are no known identified historic, prehistoric, or archaeological resources on the site. The development will not cause an undue strain on public facilities, services, including public roads, water supply, sewage disposal, solid waste systems, police, educational, and other services. This project will not cause an undue strain on public facilities or services. The applicant has sufficient financial and technical capacity to complete the development as submitted in Section 4 of the application. The applicant has financial capacity to complete the project. Item 7, the development is consistent with the Fairfield Comprehensive Plan and in compliance with state and federal law, as well as ordinance rules and regulations of the town, including the performance standards of the land use ordinance, unless the board acts to waive that said standard. The business expansion is consistent with Fairfield's comprehensive plan and is designated growth area in the Fairfield Main Street district. Possible conditions of approval.
I make a motion that we accept the application as presented with the following conditions of approval. Number 1, the lots must be combined to a single lot prior to the issuance of a construction permit. Number 2, the Fairfield Public Works Director must provide written approval for the proposed stormwater additions on Main Street and Gerald Terrace. Number 3, a Knox box shall be provided per the fire chief's requirements prior to a certificate of occupancy. Number 4, once combined, the larger parcel shall not be split without approval from Kennebec Water District. Number 2, all water services supplied from the existing Gerald Terrace water main shall be discontinued prior to providing a certificate of occupancy for the proposed garage facility. Number 3, Kennebec Water District approval is required prior to construction of any additional structures on the property that require water service, either fire or domestic. I think that was number 6. Sorry, I went out of order there, but that was number 6. Number 7, not an easement. An addition of a designated turnaround area shall be provided on the plans with a note designating that area for emergency and service vehicle use. Number 8, the dimensions of the paved area to the west of the building, it will be approved by the fire chief. And number 9, the developer shall provide a landscaping plan for the Main Street frontage for planning board consideration and approval at an upcoming meeting prior to certificate of occupancy.
Can we put that turning, I guess the turning radius approval at the same time as the landscaping plan? Just so we
Yeah,
can-
that's fine.
That's the area between the building and the proposed retaining wall.
No, just the turning radius, we can show it on the plan.
Okay. And it's straight ahead from
Straight
Gerald
ahead,
Terrace.
yeah, it's gonna be straight ahead.
Very good. Yep.
Oh, the turnaround for emergency and service vehicles? Okay, yes.
So Nicole, do you want to review the numbers one more time?
Well, I'm going to look at the recording to pick up exactly
you.
what he just said, but yes, he has 9 conditions of approval, that before I issue a building permit, the lots must be combined and filed at the Registry of Deeds as one deed to remove those lot lines. Knox box approval prior to issuing a condition of certificate of occupancy.
Yep.
And then once, under Kennebec Water District requirement added as a condition of approval, do not split the lots back up without prior approval of Kennebec Water District. And then if any additional buildings are added that require water, approval from Kennebec Water District is needed. And then designate a turnaround area off of Gerald Terrace for emergency and service vehicles. Number 8, was a designated area.
The dimensions
Oh,
of
the dimensions,
for
yes,
the
for the fire
access way
truck.
on the west side of the building.
Okay, west
That
area.
approval from the fire chief.
Okay, fire chief, got it. And then the landscape plan to be approved by the planning board along Main Street prior to certificate of occupancy.
And then just, I'm sure you got them, Nicole, or we'll pick them up, but then the approval from the Fairfield Public Works Director about stormwater additions.
Right.
And then the Water District had provided 3 written conditions of approval, so you can get those from that email.
Okay.
And that water district stuff, that's all standard to get a meter installed and branch off, and there's
It
no
is.
new requirements.
It is
Okay.
nothing new.
Very good. Any questions or comments about, again, these conditions? We're trying to fast track to let you get on the ground and not hold up these issues to your process. So these can be going on, in conjunction with your recordings and your breaking ground, and just fill it in and go through Nicole for that.
Yes, that makes sense. We really appreciate that gesture as well.
Yeah. Again, our season is short, usually quite rainy early, and if you don't hit the ground in June,
Yeah.
you miss the boat by September. So, yeah, to get your earthwork done and get out of the ground and your utilities hooked up, that's a huge thing for get you through the colder weather. Understand?
So we have a
Okay.
motion in play. I've got Max with his 9 conditions of approval so
Okay,
far.
so we have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for a vote. All those in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Next item, items by public clerk or members. What's that? No, I see you over there. We're not done. What are you gonna do, jump out the window? Again, no, there's no one in the public, but clerk or planning board members?
Yeah,
Any
I-
items?
I don't know about the board members. I have items if you guys, all right. You guys have one more pre-application that's coming your way, so I just
Okay.
want to give you a copy of it. And you'll be seeing this shortly.
Okay. Thank
Oh,
you.
this was the email you sent us. wasn't it?
Yes, I think you guys have a copy. I think you can one there. So it's just highlighted exactly. Thanks. So just if there's any concerns or anything you want to comment, so I can give feedback to the developer. The engineering firm is Plymouth Engineering that's representing the client. Their entrance is coming in off of Waterville. The office area to the front of the building is Waterville. It's right along the back. So if you're looking at College Avenue, this is that body shop.
Okay.
This is their land. And then the entrance comes in right after this building here. And then it is Waterville. And then it's Waterville right up to the office space, and then it turns into Fairfield. So this fenced-in area and the building, the bulk of that maintenance building will be Fairfield.
And what project is this?
It's going to be, it's right on there, Dosty's Waterville shop. So he does towing and vehicle repair.
Okay.
Yep.
And so he would tow vehicles there, or if something needed to be held for insurance claim, it goes in that fenced impound area in the back that's out of the way. And so he does vehicle retrieval and repair. is my
Okay.
understanding. Okay, so that's up and coming.
Nicole, when you talked about Plymouth Engineering on here, I circled on the findings of fact, under, I don't know, midway through the first page, it talks about A. Hodgson submitted the application.
Oh, it was Sir.
That's Saint Germain.
Oh, no, the building is
building's
Hodgson
Hodgson.
design. The building has a different engineer stamp on it. The
Ah. Building is-
So site plan is Saint Germain, Hodgson is Ben Murray, he's the structural engineer.
Got it, okay.
Okay?
Never mind.
Oh, but I've done that before, copy and pasted, so thank you. So that's what I had, and when you wrap up your meeting tonight, I do have the reservoir amended plan and Phase 2 plan before you leave the room for signature.
And remind
Oh.
us, Nicole, the amended plan was updating for the wet pond?
The water pond, to remove number 4 off of the covenants, that we've removed the requirement
For that's the sprinkler
for
system.
the sprinkler system.
Okay.
And what he still owes us, and I sent Bill an email today, he filed one deed to his son with the registry that transferred in January with the requirement that his structure needs to be sprinkled. So if he were to apply to me today, his deed is, so of course before certificate of occupancy, but really, his deed calls for him to have a sprinkler system, so that needs to be corrected.
But that's something that he would correct with his...
Correct, Bill could file an amended deed and
Yeah,
remove
it
that
doesn't hold us
requirement.
up on signing the plan.
Right. And then he also has filed with the Registry of Deed his declaration of covenants and restrictions. That's its own filing. He recorded that January 15th, the same time he recorded his son's deed and part of his covenants. So his whole covenants are listed there in the registry. And he has under 1.4, all residential structures shall have sprinkler systems. So he has to amend his covenants
Okay.
to correct that with the registry. So Bill is aware he needs those 2 documents that I'm aware of corrected. I don't know what other documents, I haven't seen any hit the registry, but if he has any others, he'd have to fix those to agree with the plan that you're now signing.
Okay. So you're saying hold off on signing until...
No, I don't think we need to.
Right, these just
Okay.
need, this
He needs
is
to do his
additional.
Right.
due diligence.
Right.
It affects his property.
Agreed,
his
it doesn't
property.
impact us. If they choose
Correct.
to put sprinkler systems, great.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the enforcement or inspection of this fire pond falls on who?
The engineer.
Well,
I mean, ultimately, it will be.
as you're
town to-
issuing building permits, and you're up there doing inspections for occupancy, you drive by this pond, right?
I do.
Okay, so if you were to drive by and see no water,
I would,
very good.
So we have a condition of approval that speaks to that. If no
Yes.
water is
Right.
observed in the pond, they need to
Okay.
provide water to that pond.
So the answer to the inspection is, you're up there anyway doing
Right.
inspections, so keep an eye out. for
I
them.
will, okay, especially as the summer, well, the summer hasn't dried out yet, but as it dries out, when it dries out, will be the
We'll know.
The
Okay.
telltale of whether or not
Correct.
it's going to be
Holding.
successful holding pond.
And I believe we said no additional building permits could be issued until a specific volume of water could be maintained in that pond year-round.
right.
So,
It was at 10,000 gallons.
yeah.
So
I don't
just
remember the exact.
bring your kayak to work, okay? And just go out there,
In a pole.
yeah, paddle around.
I think the fire department has the inflatable raft, I'll
Yo,
just
they-
throw that in the car.
You guys could, yeah, go up there and ride around the pond.
That's right. Check out some of their equipment, make them test the dry hydrant.
Yeah, take the highway department with you, yeah, that'd be good.
Okay.
Okay, any other items, public clerk, members?
That's all I had.
Hearing none, I'd take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, second.
Second, all those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.